All right, welcome everybody to Traversing the Stars. I am JD, and I could not be more excited about my guest today. Please welcome Richard Karn. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy
Thanks.
to be here.
I'm happy you're here, man. How are you today?
Well, I got in 18 today, and actually I was swinging pretty well.
That's a good day. That's a good day. I have not had a chance to golf all summer, or I guess we're in fall now. So,
Well, I had to take a couple of weeks off because I got my eye fixed. I had a little, what would you call it? Cataract.
oh, okay.
Feeling
better?
Those things, and I can see the ball better. That's right.
That's good.
Everything's a lot brighter.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, yeah, you said you were hitting well today. So, yeah, that's a good day. That's a real good day.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I keep fooling around with stuff, and I'm a guy, so I keep fooling around with little stuff, and then it doesn't work right, and I'm wondering why, and I go, oh, that's right, I changed that a week ago, so I go back to doing before. I'm fine.
Love it. I love it. Well, so
it's a great sport.
Yeah, it really is, man. I got into it a couple years ago. I think it was like my 30th birthday. I got into it, and I've been really excited about it. I'm trying to get my wife to come out and do it, but I haven't been able to get her out on the course yet.
Yeah, well, sometimes 3 to 4 hours is something that they just don't want to deal with.
Yeah, that's a fact. So speaking of kind of fixing things, fooling around with things, so I guess you could say you're kind of America's favorite handyman. I understand that came to be due to a traffic citation. Is that accurate?
Oh my gosh. I was able to walk that back, and big things that happen in your life.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can walk it back and you can see why this happened, or who you met, or what you did to get in position for certain things. And it came down to really a traffic ticket. I know. And I'm at traffic school because I got a ticket rolling through a stop sign on the way home from rehearsal of Shakespeare's Scottish play, which traditionally has very bad luck, attached to it because of the witch incantations. And so I figured, oh man, this is my bad luck. I got this ticket. I'm going to have to go to traffic school for 8 hours. But I always make the best of a situation. And I'm sitting next to this woman who turns out to be an agent who knows about these auditions of people that I met back in New York, maybe 4 or 5 years before that, and had stayed in touch with. And so I was able to call them. And it comes down to being in the right place at the right time and knowing what to do when that happens.
Absolutely. Knowing how to act on that kind of thing. And I mean, that's gotta, on some level, that's gotta make you believe in like karma or something, or some kind of fate or something like that. Cause I mean, who'd have thought that a traffic ticket would lead to such a career, really?
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, a lot of work was put into all that pre-stuff, because I was in New York for 11 years doing theater here and there, and ended up doing summer theater in Holland, Michigan, of all places, Hope Summer Rep, and I met a director there who calls me a few years later to do a playwrights conference in Indiana, where I met the producers eventually of Home Improvement, and it just, it's all what you put into it, and you never know where it's going to come from. Right. So, early on in my career, the answer was always yes. Sure, I'll do that. I'll go to Indiana for $100 a week stipend, and you never know who you're going to meet or become friends with.
Yeah, all about just putting it out there and going for what you're wanting.
Exactly.
So, what got you into acting initially? I mean, I understand that a couple of the characteristics for Al Borland were inspired by your father, like, service in the Navy, things like that. So like what got you into acting?
Oh boy. Well, it's funny because I keep thinking back. My dad, who was a builder, he was a contractor, he would bring home comedy albums for me, like Bill Cosby and the Smothers Brothers, and Flip Wilson, and it didn't seem odd at the time, because I enjoyed listening to these comedy albums, but in retrospect it was like, wow, he kind of fed into something that was there. I'm not sure. I know that he wasn't necessarily that happy with my choice in becoming an actor, and to be honest with you, I mean, the serendipity of auditioning because of a traffic ticket.
Right.
It so easily could have gone the other way. But
yeah,
I just kind of like always pursued that really early on in high school, my sophomore year, 10th grade. I got cast in a play, a one-act play festival in the wintertime, and I excelled. I did really well, and I felt comfortable on stage. I made people laugh.
Yeah.
I really didn't know how to create a character or anything like that. I just kind of impersonated Paul Lynn. I figured, oh well, this will work. And when you impersonate somebody, all of a sudden, a lot of those choices are already made for you because you're kind of following their lead in your head in a way. Right. But I did that, and then because of that, I got offered to do summer theater that summer at the Bathhouse Theater in Seattle, Washington, on Green Lake, and God, I just kept following it. I just kept, pursuing it.
That's awesome. Kind of just pushing to the next level and just kept it moving.
Yeah. And I didn't know what that was all the time. I didn't necessarily see the big picture. I never thought about TV and film, really. That's why I went to New York first. Seattle's a very theater-oriented town. And so when the time came, I left the University of Washington, or graduated from the University of Washington, and moved to New York to start whatever it was going to be.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. That. So you've done sitcoms, movies, theater, you've hosted game shows, you've even written a couple books. And something I always wonder when, I'm talking to somebody who has that kind of... It
sounds like a big...
It does. That's what I love that. I love that, there's so much on the resume there. And, when I have somebody like that I'm talking to, I always wonder, like, what's your favorite kind of project to be involved in?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I enjoy when I'm in it.
Yeah.
Whether it's film, TV, theater, it's just there's an excitement. There's a nervousness. You want to do a good job. You're stretching your acting muscles. All of those things. When Home Improvement happened, I really hadn't done anything that extended. Right. Everything up to that point was doing theater, which was anywhere from 2 weeks to a couple of months, and
nothing really long term.
Then you moved on to the next project, and I'm in the first season of Home Improvement, and one of the creators, he said, Rick, slow down. You're trying to take this character from A to Z, and really you've got a lot of time to explore this. And when he put it in those terms, I went, oh yeah, that's right. I don't have to
give it your all all at once.
Well, you give it your all, but you don't have to hit everything.
Right.
You're concentrating just on that half hour. And if you look at the shows, Tool Time was really only a couple of minutes out of the show most of the time.
Right.
So I just had like these little vignettes, and I'd pop in, get some great laughs, and pop out.
Yeah. When can we expect Home Improvement on one of the streaming services? I couldn't find it on any of the streaming services, and I haven't been able to, because I haven't been able to watch it for so long.
Well, I talked to, actually, oddly enough, I saw one of Tim's managers today, and I asked him that very question. I said, why are we not on Disney Plus?
Right.
I mean, we're a Disney show. And he goes, I don't know. Maybe there's a contract for the show to be playing somewhere. I know it's on Laugh TV. I'm not sure where Laugh TV is, because I haven't seen it on my spectrum, but that could be. And I don't know. I really don't know. I would love for us to end up, someplace streaming and just let a whole nother generation of kids watch the show.
Yeah, I think so. I think like this generation would definitely get it too, because it's hilarious. I mean, it's a hilarious show. Just watching Tim Allen make a fool of himself all the time.
Well, the writers were really smart, because they didn't want to anchor the show in any real time, anything happening in the moment when we were filming. So there wasn't any anchors to put it. Well, okay, it was during this administration, or it was during this time was happening in the country. This was happening, and we didn't mirror any of that. We just kind of did stories about family and the human condition,
stuff that everybody can relate to and not have to worry about like the real world for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So do you still keep up with Tim Allen, but do you still keep up with the rest of the cast?
Well, I see Debbie a lot, the full-time girl. I don't see the kids that often or Pat that often, and Earl, of course, passed. Right. Unfortunately, that was just a tragedy. But
yeah,
he lived a great life, a full life, and 100 miles an hour. But Tim and I are doing the second season of our show. I don't think it's going to be called Assembly Required this season. I think it'll be something else, but I'm not quite sure. And we go into we start filming it next Monday.
Awesome. So what's it going to be called?
I don't know. And the History Channel kind of frowns on us like throwing stuff out there because they don't know what it is. But the show, we're going to delve into, instead of having it be a competition building show, we're going to concentrate on one aspect each week. Like the first week, I think might be blades, and blades can be anywhere from windmills to surgical blades to saws to I don't know axes, all sorts of
Now, and you're actually like, you kind of know what you're doing when it comes to like home improvement, so to speak, like to a certain degree, don't you? Because your father was a builder,
but I'm not a professional, handyman. My dad could build and draw. He was a great architect also, but he could envision spaces and go, okay, well, this is what we can put here. Right. And I'm more along the lines of, well, let me see if I can fix it. And if I fix it, I'm very satisfied with myself. I go, fix that. And then there are other times where I go, no, I'm not even going to attempt to, change the solenoid in my dishwasher. But I might switch out a light fixture. I can do that.
I can do that too. That's about the extent of it, though. I mean, like when I watch stuff like that, it's just like cooking shows. Like I watch it and it's exciting, but it's like wizardry to me. I mean, I can't fix anything.
Well, every 6 months I have to, reprogram my outside lights, and I go to YouTube and I watch the same video because it's like, I do this, like that, then go here, then go there. And
you can find out how to do almost anything on YouTube.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I love it. So I did get to check out a little bit of Assembly Required. And I think it's really cool seeing you and Tim partnered up again. So tell everybody at home a little bit more about Assembly Required.
Well, it was a competition building show where we had 3 contestants each week, and we gave them a 90-minute build to build something. And it could have been a fire extinguisher or a leaf blower or just a light or a flashlight. Yeah, it's like there were just little builds, and then the 2 best moved on to the 5-day build, and they had to incorporate it in the big build. And it was really interesting. But I will say, watching the show, that when you time somebody, when you put a time limit on something, it can get a little scary because they might hurt themselves. And, there were a couple of times where we were working with sharp instruments where somebody poked them or scraped themselves, or fire that climbed up his arm that one time.
Oh,
yeah. So, I'm glad we're not putting people under extreme pressure to build something. I'm kind of liking this, exploring a tool and then bringing somebody in maybe to talk about a project that they're working on.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I obviously, I love like when, seeing you and Tim together, it reminds me of me and my best friend. Cause I love how you guys kind of snipe each other a little bit. Like there's always that little, that look.
I kind of keep them in check. That was funny because when I did Last Man Standing, a lot of the crew had been on Home Improvement, and they would come up to me one by one and say, Tim's a lot brighter this week. I don't know if it's you or whatever, but he's just he's a little more connected with stuff this week because you're here. So
you kind of kept him grounded a little bit.
I bring out the best in him, I feel.
I love it. And I think there was a joke on Last Man Standing when you did your appearance on that, where it was like, hey, say hi to the boys for me.
Yeah, I know. Well, when I got the job, it wasn't And actually, they didn't think about me coming in to play that particular role. It went out there, and my agent, I think, just submitted me for it, and they came back and go, "Oh my God, this would be a great idea."
Yeah.
So they wrote into the relationship in those senses. So when I did say, "Hey, it's good to see you," say hi to the boys, and he goes, I have 3 girls. I go, "Oh, gee, God, I remember boys."
Yeah, should have had boys.
Yeah.
Oh man. So when you were doing Assembly Required, you guys did that through the pandemic, right?
We did. And
how did that work?
Well, originally we were going to have people come into the studio and do the project. And because of COVID and the way things were, we had to, and it cost us a little bit more money, but we had to send camera crews to their particular garage or workspace or whatever.
Yeah.
And it did bring up an interesting kind of a thing where they could work in their own space and add stuff that they had laying around, to complement the building of it or whatever. So that was kind of a cool thing. But as far as really getting to know any of the contestants, we were really at,
like a Zoom call.
Exactly.
So who came up with some of the creation ideas? Because some of the stuff y'all had on there was just awesome. I think my favorite had to be probably the easy chair lawnmower thing.
Yeah, I know. And I think the small build for the easy chair lawnmower was a table that could attach to a Barcalounger and not spill and be stable. And they had to build that, and you would think that would be kind of an easy thing, but
I wouldn't.
Not necessarily. And when they finally got all the bells and whistles on the lawnmower Barcalounger or whatever, it was very different. They were 2 very different machines. And I had one that was a little harder to maneuver. I don't know. I think Tim always got first pick on stuff. But
he had the flamethrower that actually had the flames and all that. So
well, that was my fault, or the production's fault, because there was a button that no one told me about that made the flame more intense, and I did not use that button, and I am so sorry about that, because he built a really great flamethrower leaf blower. Yeah. But the other one was pretty cool looking. I mean, he made it out of metal, and it looked like a dragon, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought they both looked cool. I mean, the one looked like kind of the one you had kind of looked like a rocket launcher almost.
Oh yeah, I mean, it looks like it came off the shelf of the DoD. The guy was an ex-Marine, so
that makes sense. Yeah,
right.
So if you had to get one of those, like one of the things that they made on there for Father's Day or something like that, like what would be the one you would pick? One of the crazy inventions that they did.
You know what? I think I would like the movable workstation.
Yeah.
I think the movable workstation was really cool. And the one guy that won, he put a barbecue on the end.
Yeah.
And all sorts of things that really was kind of cool. And you could move it around, and it wasn't stationary. So you could take it wherever you were going to work and around the house. Yeah. So maybe not bring it into the house. It was pretty heavy but to a workspace. Sure.
Yeah. So kind of shifting gears here. So as we all know, like the internet kind of has a life of its own. And then, so in August of last year, the internet started to run with a rumor that you had died. Obviously not the case. What was it like to be to find out that you had died?
Last one to know. You're always the last one to know. Somebody called me up and said, "Are you okay?" I go, "Of course I'm okay. What do you mean?" He says, "Well, you're supposed to be dead." And I go, "I'm not dead." And I look up the site, and I think it was like a Republican fundraiser. I think is what it was, because the hook was that I'm dead, but also it said that I was a lifelong Republican, and that I like this and that, and it's like, wow, it's like, I don't know why they went there.
Yeah. Like, that's the weirdest thing. Like, I've never understood, like, because somebody has to start that. Somebody
Yeah,
has to write that. And it's just like, it's never made any sense to me. Like, because I mean, I've heard, several celebrities have had that happen to. I mean, Gabriel Iglesias has like the whole comedy bit about it, and his friend calling like, "Hey, are you dead?" Yeah, I figured you would have texted me.
Well, and then the opposite is true, is that you don't believe when some tragic thing happens,
Right.
and the person really is,
Right.
But you should check other sources. That's the trouble with the internet right now, is people don't check other sources.
Yeah.
They read something that's usually kind of filtered towards them, because that's the algorithm
Right.
that is on most websites and things like. So they just keep feeding you the information you want to hear.
Yeah.
And you might not see the other side of the story. So really, we have to verify. We have to check and verify.
I mean, double and triple check minimum. I mean, there's so much information out there, and you got to check where the source comes from. You got to check who, like what the reasoning for somebody to write some kind of article would be, things like that.
That's a lot of the arguments. There are families that don't even talk to each other anymore because of information that is misleading, and you don't know what the truth is, and you say, well, how can you do this?
Right.
It's like it just it can get scary.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's definitely affected a lot of families. It's frightening.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So on your Twitter profile, you've got a little blurb about big news coming soon. Is that anything you can spill, or?
That's probably from last year.
Oh, okay.
Because I am of a certain age where I don't think I take advantage of Instagram or Twitter to the full effect. So when I put something out there, and I don't have a lot of things that I put out there, I think what I was alluding to was assembly required last year.
So and now we're coming around
check
to
and verify. I'm not sure. You can look and see what the date was.
Yeah. Well, it's like in the main thing. So like there's no date attached to it. So it's like in the actual profile thing. So I guess you could just leave it up for the new season, I guess.
Maybe I can go in there and fix that.
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way to do that.
Yeah. So what's it like, kind of like, as a celebrity, like, not, you're kind of like, an older generation, like celebrity, like you said, like not really into the Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Like, is that kind of like strange when you got like some of your colleagues that are, of younger generation that are kind of into all that kind of stuff?
I don't think I worry about it that much. The one great thing is that I've become reacquainted with a lot of people I grew up with.
Yeah.
That was maybe that was like the main thrust of why Facebook was created, to get together with people. But it has since taken a left turn towards Albuquerque, and
big time,
which is a Warner Brothers cartoon reference.
No, I actually get that reference.
Anything derogatory about Albuquerque. But I don't know. I try not to be too political or too throw stuff out there about things, because I don't know if that's the forum for it.
Right.
There's just too many people that just want to be contrary just to be contrary.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I kind of think that I would even say that kind of helps, like, with your image. I mean, you've got, almost like an archetypal, like kind of dad vibe, like, in a good way, like, you know what I mean? Like, you've always kind of like with the, everybody kind of knows you as like, the flannel shirt and the, just knowing how to fix stuff. And, so I think like kind of avoiding, getting into that with people is probably helped solidify and keep that image for you.
Well, I can you imagine, do you remember in the newspaper years ago, they had Dear Abby?
I remember. Yeah, I do remember.
And people would write in, and then you'd get some letters about people that were upset with their answer. Well, take that to this step of having a Dear Abby online, and it could explode into really kind of dangerous territories.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I mean, back then you had to find a stamp, you had to write a letter out. Now you could just like send and not even think about it.
Yeah. And also, looking at it from 15 different angles.
Yeah.
We really are starting to look at a lot of stuff from different sides. That's why, stand-up comics are having a difficult time right now figuring out how to be funny on stage, because you can't say too many things about it really almost has to be self-inflicted. You're making
Right.
fun of yourself most
Yeah.
of the time. You can't just take a nationality or a type of person, because that's hurtful to a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even really think about that before, but I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, a lot of the comedians I listen to, they do a lot where they do kind of talk funny about themselves. I mean, it's just, I mean, and you got like Dave Chappelle, he's in trouble, and and on one hand, it's like, you understand it, on one hand, it's like, you don't want to come at people just to come at people, but at the same time, there's also got to be like a line of where comedy. I was talking to my dad about this earlier today. It's like, where is that line of where you can make fun of people but not be like just a dick to be a dick?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of humor is based in insult.
Yeah,
it just is, and we find that funny, but don't insult the wrong person.
Right. And that's constantly changing.
Yeah.
I love it.
we're treading carefully.
Yeah, we're treading very carefully.
Yeah.
So I've got one final question for you. I thought this was kind of a good one here, since you've done so much. So, having done as much as you've done, are there any other mountains that you want to climb in the entertainment industry? Maybe something you haven't had the opportunity to do that you'd be interested in doing?
I'd love to do Broadway again.
Yeah,
I would love to go back and do a show on Broadway. Yeah. I mean, I did one, but I really didn't have much of a role.
Right.
So I really would like that experience.
Yeah.
But I'm also, I'm getting to the age where it's really hard to remember lines. And I know that there are some older actors out there that use earwigs.
Yeah.
If they find themselves in trouble, there's someone off stage that just kind of prompts them.
Yeah.
And I guess I could go there, but I started, Home Improvement. Our son Cooper was born the first.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 years, I didn't do any theater. I didn't go away to do theater because you're gone every night.
Right.
And then when he was off in college, I went back and started doing and did a show, and it was really fun. It was it was immediate and scary because you're on stage, and if you mess up, you mess up.
That's it. Yeah. There's no retake.
You have to you can't take it again. You have to figure out how to get out of that.
Yeah.
And the live audience, it was really compelling again. So I guess if there was something like that, I'd really love to do that, and maybe a bigger budget movie. I've done a bunch of small movies,
yeah,
and things like that. But who knows? I'm really happy with life right now.
That's
I'm doing the show.
To hear that.
I'm representing some companies. I get to play golf. I've got great friends. We can travel.
Who could ask for anything more?
Which is a song lyric for Broadway.
Who could ask for anything more?
Yeah, they cut that character out of the show.
Did they?
I know it's weird, but there was a musical called
Is it Anything Goes?
No, it wasn't Anything Goes. It was Girl Crazy.
Girl Crazy, because it's the.
It was Girl Crazy.
Music. I've got rhythm. I've got something else. Like, yeah.
And they created a smaller version and called it Crazy for You. There were 4 leads. There were the romantic leads and the comic leads.
Right.
And the 2 comic leads was like Ethel Merman and the guy.
Yeah.
And they just cut those characters out. So, hey, some things advance, other things don't.
Yeah. And that's the world we live in.
Yeah. Who could ask for anything more? Well, I can.
Yeah. I can ask for a few things more.
The old script. I'd love to ask for that.
Oh, I love it. So anything else that you're wanting to kind of plug or mention at the moment, or anything else you got going on?
We've really covered quite a lot of stuff. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure. I was very nervous, before we got on here. So you definitely eased that. So it was a pleasure meeting you. Pleasure.